I'm searching the web for the latest gaming news. Searching GameZillaMedia.com. Downloading headlines.
Alexander, what about this monster story of yours?
Download complete.
Haha, see, Deadite? Your job's not that hard, fool. All right, we got some news. Topic number 1, we have... Oh, you're just holding up one. I thought you were like,
one.
Hey, pause.
Nope,
Topic number 1. In the wake of the Red Dead 2 crunch discussion, Rockstar Office now has changed its tune. What? That's right. So, let's dive right into this. This is an article from IGN by Jesse Wade surrounding the controversy of Rockstar employees working mandatory 100-hour work weeks. During the development of Red Dead Redemption 2, a UK-based office, Rockstar Lincoln has decided to switch their system of mandatory overtime to voluntary. This is according to Kotaku. Kotaku originally broke the news from 6 sources that was told differently from Rockstar's head of publishing that overtime was never mandatory, but it was part of a system that involved requesting and scheduling overtime by bosses, but that employees could always say no. But this is interesting here.
So that's not mandatory.
Right. Well, if you feel like you can't say no, it's not mandatory. But let me finish here. So, though the conversations we've been having, it is clear to us that the requested scheduled overtime felt like an obligation to some, if not many, of the team. We therefore spoke to them to make sure it was clear that the OT is not mandatory. This was quoted. But the decision is a direct result of multiple employees speaking freely of the overtime requirement for Red Dead Redemption 2, which was first mentioned by Vulture by Rockstar co-founder and vice president of creativity Dan Houser. Now, the interesting thing here is that they were working 100-hour weeks, and then immediately gained like social media attention. Rockstar employees were being forced into what we call crunch time, right? This crazy amount of just you work until it's done. You might get paid for it. You probably won't, but you got to get this done. And it's just a super negative thing that the industry is trying to turn away from. And it looked like almost Rockstar was sitting here bragging about it. They tried to clarify. It didn't go over well, and that's when something happened interesting here at Rockstar, which is they have a policy that employees are allowed to freely speak to journalists, to the public, whatever. So employees can come out and say, "Yeah, they said it wasn't mandatory, but I sure felt like it was mandatory."
Right.
And so they were allowed to say that, and by them saying that, that's when Rockstar took it and goes, "Oh wow, okay. We clearly have not defined this properly. We're going to change our tune and make sure that everyone knows it's voluntary." So I actually kind of congratulate them on this move, because here, and I remember last week we were about to cover this topic and just rip Rockstar a new one, and then right before our show came live, they updated it, right? And we were like, okay, cool, we're not going to roast them. Let's see how this plays out. Here we are now, a week later, saying, wow, okay, it did clearly look like people thought they had to if they wanted to keep their jobs or they wanted the opportunity to a promotion or whatever, right? But Rockstar then stepped up and really says, no, like, if you think that, you're like, we're sorry, here's the new policy in place. Now, mind you, this new policy gets put in place after Red Dead 2 is done and about to be delivered here.
Yeah.
So timing just seems to work out well. But for their next project, obviously, this policy will be in place. Any thoughts on this, Jazzy?
I don't. Okay, first off, I want to say I'm all for, like, people need the ability to just not have. It's not like mandatory OT. Not cool. People have to have the ability to have a outside of life, social life. They need to have that separation. It's healthy for human beings to not be overworked and not have anything going on at home outside of it. Like, they need that time to rest. They need that time to take their mind off of work and be able to recoup. But at the same time, I'm going to take this stand on it, and it might not be the most positive stand, but in this gaming industry, we'll say, this is going to honestly fall down to the developing management team being very, very, very lucky in saying when their game is going to be released. Because here's the thing, the publishers are going to expect that game to be out on or near that date, and there's always going to be problems that come up in the development process. So, yes, the employees are, being pushed to try to get this game out. Yes, they are working overtime. They're getting paid for it. So,
you better watch. You better watch.
They were getting paid for it.
First of all, you can go to many of these stories and find out that they weren't paid.
True. In this instance, I should say they were getting paid for it. But at the end of the day, some people might want to be a little cautious, because if they're not working this OT and they're not getting the game done on time, the publishers could bail. We've seen it happen, and then guess what? You're not getting paid because your game's not getting put out.
Yeah, but this is Rockstar. Like, if they want to publish it themselves, right. They'll publish it themselves. Here's the thing. If you want to play that game, then that's still wrong. Like, we should not give publishers that type of power that force people into a work environment that is shitty. And so if that's the problem, then publishers need to be looked at, and people need to hold publishers accountable to not put that type of pressure. And it's simple how you don't put that pressure on there. Don't don't announce release dates way too early where you don't know how many speed bumps are going to hit this production of the game.
Yeah, and in the industry, it comes down to the fans and the players too, because we want information. Like, how many times do we sit here and we're like, just give me a release year. Let me know that you're working on this. Metroid Prime 4, when am I going to get it? Oh, if you say 2021, I'll be happy because at least I know a year. But then if it doesn't come out in 2021, you're pissed. The publisher's pissed. The developers feel like they got all this heat on them. And, we force it almost because we want the information. And we'll basically threaten to give up on these people if we don't get, promises, I'll say.
Well, I don't know if we give up on people, because let's be honest, if I didn't know about Metroid Prime 4, would I care about when Metroid Prime 4 is coming out?
No, yes and no.
No, I would.
You wouldn't care.
If there was never
but I would have to listen to you bitch every year about how there's not a new Metroid game.
Yeah, but that's different. I'm going to bitch about that anyways. The whole point I'm making is that if they never tell you about a new Killzone game, you're never sitting there going, when am I getting... God, how come that new Killzone game hasn't come out? It doesn't change the fact that you go, I wish there was a new Killzone game.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm using Killzone because, and I know you know this, but the people listening don't. It's one of your favorite games because it's by Guerrilla. So, but still, if you don't come out and open your mouth in the first place, you are not setting an initial expectation for me to then be disappointed on. And
it could be something simple for me, though. We know that the developers at Guerrilla are in partnership with for another shooter game. Who was it? I forget.
I forgot too, but I do know that.
So they're in partnership with another shooting developer, and I instantly am like, man, they're making a Killzone game again.
They probably are. But here's the difference. So
now I'm like, okay, when's it going out?
Here's the difference, though. That is the same thing as what they did with Metroid Prime 4, is that they have set an idea in your head, right? Mm-hmm. Is that Metroid Prime 4 showed me a logo, and then it said, in development. That's all it said. And yes, I want more information, but they didn't sit there and say, it's coming out 2020, and then 2020 comes, it's not there, and 2021 comes, it's not there. It's not Crackdown 3. How about that? Okay, right. Crackdown 3 at this point, I don't know. It's supposed to come out next year, but I already am scared because it was supposed to come out 2 years ago. So, but that's, I don't want to get too crazy on naming a bunch of random games that have disappointed us or haven't even come out yet. But still, the idea here is publishers need to calm down. Developers need to take their time. Don't run crunch time. Example, Days Gone has pushed themselves another 3 months? February, April. Yeah, about 3 months. And so, that's fine. It gives them more time to polish the game. It takes them away from a super busy weekend that they shouldn't have competed in, shouldn't even thought of competing in the first place. And bottom line is that this team can now even make the game better without having to put crunch time in. So I don't know.
I'm definitely pro people getting the time off. So we'll put it that way. And anybody that's like, oh, these people just need to put the, so it's like, you know, one person can be like, oh, if they're making a new Killzone game, I want Guerrilla to put as much overtime as to give me that game as soon as they can. I would probably say that the person that's saying that probably hasn't worked a lot of OT in their life. If you've worked a lot of OT, you know the toll it takes on you.
Yeah, and I mean, the problem with crunch time with a video game is, and I don't want to I'm not trying to take away from anyone that works OT, because we personally know people that work a lot of hours. Mm-hmm. But Red Dead Redemption has been worked on for like 7 years. Some of this team has worked on this game for 7 years. Some of them may want to go put that crunch time in because they want to get this done. But I mean, some people, you know, like that is crazy to ask of them, when, especially if the pay isn't there. But I mean, I don't know, like, if it's your passion and you want to put the time in, then yeah, right. Absolutely, it should be voluntary. And at the same time, though, you should be able to say, no, I really need to be at my son's birthday party or something like that this weekend, and not be penalized for it, or felt like you're being held back and losing opportunities because you didn't say yes. That's the part that needs to be clear and cut and just make sense. Testonomics has been real quiet. You have anything to say on this?
I got no love for Rockstar, for when your hand's in the cookie jar and you get caught and you all of a sudden, oh no, that's not it. Oh, yeah, any sort of backpedaling. Like, I've got, they're going to get the game on. It's going to be on time. It's going to be as good as it's going to be. Like, yep. Rockstar does not get any praise for this clarification, or they don't deserve any sort of a second chance. Yeah. I mean, it's not like anything's going to be done, but like they had a shitty practice and they got called out on it, and that just is what it is for them.
Especially their excuse, like, well, it was scheduled, but they could have said no. Go fuck yourself. So when you put somebody's schedules out, they're expecting to work it. Like,
but it's weird too. It's requesting and scheduling overtime by bosses. Like, it's really like, it's very strange how they phrase it. That I kind of was curious how it worked, and then also how randomly the policy of letting people speak openly was revealed all of a sudden. Like, right. All of a sudden, their employees could come out and talk, even though we didn't necessarily hear a whole lot of them say anything before. So,
well, they read
it's all just timed.
They read an article about Riot. That's what happened.
It's all timed kind of perfectly. Again, I'm glad it's going that route, but yeah, it is hard to sit there and clap and and praise them. But at least we could sit there and say it's a good move.